A stripper battered a rival at a lap dancing club after calling her a glass-eyed Yvonne McDermid, 36, and former exotic dancer Cheryl Hanrahan, 45, threw drinks over each other and pulled at each other's hair in a vicious. McDermid punched Cheryl before striking her on the side of the face with a jug during the brawl at Wiggle Gentlemen's Club in Bournemouth, Dorset. Jurors heard the pair first bumped into each other at Eton Bar in the seaside town while they were both out with Cheryl, who wears a glass eye from a childhood accident, said, "We used to be friends but she could be vindictive. Earlier that night I had seen her in the toilets at Eton and she called me a glass-eyed." Cheryl poured her drink over McDermid's legs in response, but the pair bumped into each other again at Wiggle where they both previously worked. She told Bournemouth Crown Court, "I was in Wiggle with my friends and after dancing with them I sat down. I was maybe 4 or 5 paces from her. She shouted over to me not to sit at the table. I didn't want to cause trouble but I didn't see why. The next thing I felt a lot of liquid being poured over me and being smashed in the face." Cheryl suffered cuts and bruises to her face and later slumped unconscious after the brawl at Wiggle on August 26, 2018. She was treated in hospital for her injuries and has been scarred for life. Bournemouth Crown. Both women had previously worked together as exotic dancers at the club in Bournemouth but later had a bitter falling out. McDermid admitted pouring orange juice over Cheryl but claimed she had acted in self-defense and denied. Witness Anthony Wilson said, "Cheryl was looking at Yvonne with a smug look and it felt like she was trying to antagonize. Yvonne said, 'F pay off, I don't want you here.' Cheryl shrugged her shoulders so Yvonne picked up a jug containing orange juice and poured it over. Cheryl went towards her in retaliation and Yvonne punched her in the head 3 times. They were both pulling each other's hair and Cheryl was bleeding from it. McDermid told jurors, "I did pour the orange juice over her because she was coming at me over the table. In that moment I thought she threw a drink at me earlier so I didn't throw the jug at her. I just dropped it to get it out of my hand. We both had hold of each other's hair and ended up fighting. I don't see how plastic jug could cause those injuries." McDermid, of Bournemouth, was found guilty of grievous bodily harm following a trial. She will be sentenced next month. After the guilty verdict, Cheryl, who now works a laser treatment specialist working for NHS, said, "I am really happy. To tell the truth, it has been a really hard time for me and I hope she is given us. I would also like to think that this verdict may prompt her to take a look at herself and address some of her anger." Cheryl has not worked as a stripper since 2014. McDermid still works as a stripper, but at a different lap dancing